I feel I need to clarify my position on some things. No, I'm not one to dole out sympathy every time someone sheds tears. See, I used to be that type of person that would depend on the world to have sympathy for me. It's not the world's job to have sympathy for you, and it's not the world's job to stop just because you have a problem. Sorry to tell you, but it's the truth. And you push people away when you're constantly on this kick about suffering, suffering, suffering. There are some people that are so entitled they feel that they don't have to do any work to accomplish anything because they suffered through something. Let me give you an example. Once upon a time, I worked for a little while in a homeless shelter, and the way they had it was they had houses for the men and houses for the women. They didn't have any co-ed units, and of course, that was the best thing to do. So plenty of times I would go in as a relief manager for the ladies, or I would assist. And we're talking about houses that would have anywhere to 10 to 15 people living in them. Rehabbed houses. And these people, and I hear the stories all day, every day. And you always had two groups of people. And they would divide themselves into cliques. You would have this group of females, all they did was sit there and complain and whine all day long. And then when you look at their lives, they're not doing anything. And you basically have to encourage them and push them to handle their business. And there always seems to be some trouble from that camp. Then you have the other group of people. You'd have to literally run behind them. They are moving so fast to change their situation. And the funny part about these two groups is that they come from the same background. A lot of them share the same traumas. But see, it's all about perspective. See, the ones that are whining and crying and don't want anything for them, they already feel entitled. So they feel like, oh, well, I went through so-and-so. I'm entitled to so-and-so. This world doesn't know anybody a damn thing. And I don't know how many messages you have to listen to from how many people to tell you that. It's not the world's responsibility to take care of you. It's not. We all go through trauma in this life, and as long as you're in this earth, you're subject to have to go through some trials and tribulations. How you deal with them determines what kind of life you're going to have. Not so much the event itself. I'm not diminishing trauma. I'm not diminishing misfortune. All of us had some kind of trauma. All of us had some kind of misfortune. What I'm trying to say is, okay, what's done is done. Do whatever you need to do to fix it so you can live a decent life. Because some of you are going to be on this earth for a long time. And you have to think about your future. If you don't have families yet, what type of role model are you going to be for your families? See, I had to learn a lot of this the hard way. I love my parents, I love my grandparents, but the dynamic was not perfect. And for anyone to think that it is, have a talk with me. And what I'll do is I'll just take a little newspaper and hit you on the top of the head like you do with the dog when they do their business on the floor. And maybe that'll help you think. Because nobody's perfect. So the thing is that you can't go around here feeling like, oh, just because you suffered through something, you're entitled to a reward. All rewards require work, no matter what. It doesn't matter what kind of trauma you went through. If you want a degree, you need to study. It doesn't matter what kind of trauma you had. If you want some money, you get a job. It doesn't matter what kind of trauma you had. If you want somebody to love and care for you in your life, you need to learn how to deal with people. Develop some social skills. I don't care how much trauma you had in your life. If you want to have a legacy to leave to your children, you want to make investments, and you want to think about things long term, you've got to go ahead and make those moves with your money. I'm working on a legacy myself. It may be a little late in the game, but that's okay. As long as I am here and I'm working on it, I can safely say that is more than what a lot of people my age are doing right now. I would say half the people my age aren't even thinking about it, don't even care. And some of them are waiting for the kids to get grown so they can take care of them. I've seen too many people in my family pass on, and they could have done a little bit more with their life to make their final days comfortable. But they're going to and fro, waiting for this person and that person to handle the basics for them. When all they had to do is, when they had the energy and they were out there, is just to set aside a little something. But it was all about getting scratch tickets and liquor and cigarettes every Friday. And that money that you spent on that stuff, you could have set aside in an insurance policy. You could have set aside in a 401k for your children. And I'm going to do another audio about that too. I speak on these things because I was guilty of some of them. And it's nothing pretty. Even though I'm thankful to be here to make it to the other side, there are times where I'll be like, you know what? If I had thought of this 30 years ago, I would have been okay. But I don't dwell on it too long, because I don't want those regrets to interfere with my momentum. It is what it is. And don't let anybody make you feel bad about it either. So the next time you want to go on a pity party for doing nothing, think about the fact that there are people in this world that don't even know where they came from, and they are very successful because they chose not to be another statistic. They chose to have a fruitful life. So many names I don't even have time to even tell you, but you know who you are. So that's how come I don't dish out sympathy very much. Only when it's justified. But not when you have a pattern of doing this. You put out nothing, you get nothing. Just because you suffer something does not guarantee you a reward. Sometimes you got to do a little bit more extra work. Just saying.